Hello, good evening, and welcome to the stream. Yes, indeed. We are the live. Indeed we are. Right, okay. So we need to do a quick bit of social mediaing. Let the good people know Anarchy Online is live. Yes, it's midweek already. What? Is it me, or does days just fly by these days? I do. I have had quite a productive day, I have to say, so... Days filled with lots and lots of stuff. Right, we're there. Let's go to the live screen. There we are. And same over on YouTube. There we are. And set live. Why would I not want my preview window live on a live stream? Why would I want it buffered? That makes no sense whatsoever. All right, okay. So midweek, but you know what? What the hell? Beer o'clock. Yes, indeed. Apparently, Twitch is beatering streaming at 1440p 2K resolution. What I haven't heard, though, is whether or not they're upping the bandwidth. Because if they're not, it's kind of pointless. But we don't know yet. Waiting to find out. Oh my god. Perpetual Wasteland Scavenger. Again. But never mind. Yeah, we grabbed some dailies. I'll go for prisoner mission again. Bye. 214 would be nice tonight, but we might just miss it. Freelancers is still active, so we might just squeeze in if we do like an Inferno mission as well, maybe. Oh, I forgot to hand my alien daily in last time. Oh well. That'll learn me, won't it? Right, okay. Go visit my favourite buff bots. And the freelancer. I did hand it in last time, didn't I? Yeah, it's not it's not in my mission log, thank God. Yeah, because I'd forgotten the alien daily, I suddenly started doubting myself about all the others. Okay, we're just... all the buffs. Okie dokie. Freelancers Inc. in ICC will be the next port of call. Just remember to do one on the Discord there. Go me. Freelancers Inc. There we go. Scavenger perpetual wastelands. Let's go with a wave and a fixer grid. Yep, that's the one we want. Right, okay. Should have the space in my inventory. Stuart Hall, greetings. A YouTube member over there. Welcome on in for a midweek stream. I was slightly late starting because I was watching the Funcom Dune Awakening stream, and then quickly after that, Co-Carnage streamed interviewing the lead kind of game director for it as well, but he asked some very, very good questions, because he was asking, like, right, I've played the game, here's what I want to know. How is this bit going to work? How is that bit going to work? I'm concerned about this. Like, you know, like intelligent, reasoned questions. And fair play, yeah, they had answers. Oh yeah, I watched your stream, so we've changed XYZ on the basis that, yeah, that sucks. So let's change it, kind of thing. So yeah, it was pretty cool to see that the back and forth is going to be that kind of quick. Sven, incredible AO is still up. Great to see you. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad it's still up as well, because I've played it for so long. I might even feel a little bit lost without it, you know, I mean. Mm. We fly away from here. Excuse me, I think we're far enough now. We can beep. Yeah, the atmosphere and the music. Yeah, if you get that right in a game, I think pretty much you've cracked it. People want to play the game because they want to be in that game space. They want to be in that world. So it definitely, it's definitely important. Some games feel very lifeless, I think, because they just haven't nailed the atmosphere somehow. And you just don't really feel like you're in the game space. It's kind of an immersion thing, but also it gives a kind of flavour and character to a game world, you know, so yeah, it's pretty cool. And there's a lot of different kind of vibes all over AO. Rage Star, welcome to the stream. Yeah, so there's, you know, when you're in a forest or you're somewhere in Shadowlands near old Zan technology, or, you know, all these different possible places you could go. Yeah. All of them have their own kind of like background noise, music, just to create that atmosphere. James, hello all, welcome on in. Storylines are the main quests. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, especially any single player game, you've really, if you don't nail atmosphere, you're kind of screwed. No one's gonna really rate the game. Well, you're gonna lose a lot of your audience, put it that way. That's the first thing I noticed about the Dune Awakening game. is right out the gate. They nailed the atmosphere and the vibe of the place, the feeling, the way the light works and everything else. So it felt very Dune, and that's what I was hoping for. But AO nailed all of that back in 2001. They got that right from the get-go. You know, flying over countryside here, different music. And it's different depending on the different time of day. You know, the sound design, you know, collectively, so the music, the background sounds and atmosphere, really, really nailed it. There is a bit of a bug sometimes where if you mouse out a game and back in again, it resets. See, just as we've left the forested area, the background sounds have changed. And also, there's a big storm. You know, it's chucking it down with rain at the minute. Iktu, welcome to the stream, my old friend. Not like you're old. I mean, I am, and in fact old, but I mean, long-standing friend. Or a friend. Someone I've known of for a very long time. Right, let's see if Mr. Prisoner is coming out to play. We're both very much older. Yeah. You know, I started playing AO. I was 32 years old when I started playing. I was a young dude, you know? Ooh. Sturdy detention boots. Don't actually need any, but if anyone does, they're over here. And I like for Rubicar they stuck with like a classical, you know, a kind of European orchestra for the battle music. Because it's kind of timeless, isn't it? You know, or you kind of feel that it's timeless. Some games feel more aged because they used popular music tropes of the day that, you know, of the time they were made. And it can make the game feel very much older, you know. And sometimes that's cool because sometimes that's exactly what you want, you know. I mean, the music and atmosphere in games like Witcher 3, oh my god. Siri, play me lay 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 lay. And Siri's like, what the you talking about? But if you go on like YouTube and just type in you'll get all this. Take away the word song, you'll still get all this stuff, and it won't find it. It's all Bollywood stuff, right? But if you go lay 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 lay, Witcher, Silver for Monsters. Killer music. Yeah, you put Witcher in it and they're like, oh yeah, we know what you want. Oh, you want that? Right, yeah, no problem. See, now I've moused out a game. If the music's gone, but if I quickly on and off it, it comes rising back in. Yeah, it just works so damn well. It just works so damn well. And I think it's good that Western Europeans or Westerners got to hear more Eastern influenced music, you know, the Polish music in Witcher 3, because it opened their ears to that tonality and that modal interchange that they use, which I love. You do hear it used a lot in heavy rock and heavy metal, slightly less so in pop, you know, that's for sure. I wonder what app. Oh, I wouldn't have used an app, man. It's 2001. They edited it with Cool Edit Pro 3. I know that because if Adobe Audition, right, used to be called Cool Edit Pro, and it was bought up by Adobe. Who renamed it Adobe Audition. But when you look at the sound files in Anarchy Online, they've all been mastered in Cool Edit Pro 3. And I know this because I used to have Cool Edit Pro 3 back in the day, you know. I wonder what app Shazam would make of the AO music. I have no idea. What's Shazam? I thought he was like a comic book hero, wasn't he? One of the old school ones as well. Well, I tried to tell him there were some detention boots, but yeah. He's doing a what's it? Old Brum. All right, how's it going, Chimbilay? He's doing a daily diseased prisoner. Yes, that's exactly what I was doing. Right, okay, so let's meep back and get these handed in. First, I want to talk to the warden. Just search Spotify, but no AO soundtrack in that. You can get the AO soundtrack. Yeah, there's a music collection on Steam. I think it's a free one. If it's not, it's on YouTube. Yeah, it's free, so you can download it from Steam. And then there's Cyber Chaos Crew. There's the whole thing there. Do you guys want the link for that? There you go. So they got it there, and it's on Steam as well. Yeah, this channel, I think they've got all the music. Cyber Chaos Crew. I think they've got a lot of stuff from different movies and games. There was another channel as well. I think it was AO Vault or something. No, I can't remember what they're called. Yeah, I think it's AO Vault. A Australian Open Vault. No. Oh, did they have issues with the thing or something? No, that's not it. AO Vault, all one word. AO Vault. Yeah, they've got loads of old footage and stuff like that. Streams. I don't know if they might have some of my stuff, and if they do, that's cool because I understand they're archiving, and I'm totally cool with that. So, yeah, they've got loads of old school like means doing interviews and stuff and holding seminars and all the old ads. Gouter looks like he's still in school, eh? Yeah, all the old ad campaigns they ran, all of that stuff is on AO Vault. So there you go. Yeah, very cool channels. Yeah, the backyard music, even if you're just chilling in a backyard, it's something else. Excuse me. Your phone will listen and tell you what you're listening to. It's pretty accurate, but I don't know how much it relies on lyrics. Yes. I preferred going into a music store and saying, have you got the song that goes to someone behind the counter? That was much better. That was an interaction with human beings. And in the old days, those human beings loved music and would actually point you in the right direction, saying it could be one of these three. I'll pop them. I'll stick it on the player, and they'd go and pick up 3 vinyl albums, and then say, "Do you think maybe it's this?" HMV. They were a corporate version of record stores, yeah. But I mean, the old school record stores were privately owned by music enthusiasts. Who would have quite an extensive knowledge of all kinds of music. I remember I went in to buy a tape of, I had to order it because they didn't have it in stock. Steve Vai, Flexible. And they were like, we can get that for you. It's not like Steve Vai's rock stuff. I went, yeah, it's much more like his, much more Zappa influence. And they went, oh, right, okay, yeah, it is. Actually, that's a good description. But yeah, is that the one you're after? Yeah. Oh, yeah, are you into Zappa? I was like, yeah, man, yeah, Zappa's cool. And they were like, oh, yeah, we've got all this section over here, And you had this conversation with a human being going, oh, if you like that, you should definitely listen to these guys or, this artist. And until you can get me an app that can do that, I don't want the app. Besides, most digital music sounds pretty terrible. The best format I've ever heard was, I think, 1/4-inch tape. Yeah, the vinyl can't really reproduce a lot of frequencies because the needle just gets kicked off the record. Digital has a harmonic harshness to it just by the nature of the way digital music works. Most of us don't hear it. Most of us do not hear it. But if you've heard actual live versus not, reel-to-reel tape is about the best reproduction of what you heard, but most stuff is recorded digitally now anyway, so there's just no point, And I think 99.99999% of people can't tell the difference when they're listening anyway, so. But when you sample something, if you imagine a sine wave, if you sample it, it becomes lots of little square waves, and square waves have corners which an amplifier interprets as a separate harmonic. Okay, so you end up with a kind of an increased clarity that shouldn't really be there. Lord Hasta TV. Gaming. Good evening, sir and folks. He's the same Lord Hasta TV from Twitch fame, because I'm on Twitch and I'm on YouTube concurrently. Dual streamage. Also, when I stream to YouTube, I can stream at a way better bit rate, because YouTube allow you to stream at much higher bit rates. So you get far better or visual quality. Audio's the same. It's, oh God, I think it uses Opus 251, is it? If you right-click any video, click on Stats for Nerds, it'll tell you what the audio codec is. Yeah, I think it's Opus 251, which is better than MP3, actually. Yeah, you've got more frequency range and dynamics in Opus than you do in MP3. Getting into things you can't really hear the difference to without a studio setup. You know, if you're listening on, you know, little earbuds, then yeah, you can't hear it. Listening in a acoustically treated room on studio monitors, yeah, maybe you'll hear it. You know, if your hearing's still up to snuff. So does it really matter? No. In terms of media to market, no, it doesn't matter. Here's the Somphos. I was wondering where they were all at. Yeah, so in the June Awakening stream, going back to what we were talking about before we started talking about recording formats and music, Lord Hasta TV gifted a tier 1 sub to Gamel. 1111. Gifted. Get this, 585 subs to the channel. That's nuts, bro. But thank you so much for your support over the years. Gifted a tier 1 sub to Lady Sky Cannon. Oh, dude. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, so you will see me streaming June Awakening because I'm just going to be playing it. It's as simple as that. I tried the beta. I spent 26 hours in the beta over that beta weekend, which was like 4 days. I was enjoying... Well, I don't want to say I enjoyed every second of it because I did get eaten by worms several times, but yeah. Trying to figure out how to loot downed ships being one of the primary causes of worm death for me. How was the beta? The beta was awesome. Honestly, it greatly surpassed my expectations for the game. So I thought, oh, it's going to be some survival sandbox with a Dune skin. That's it. But I'll give it a go. It's free beta, you know. I'll try it out. I just want to check it out anyway, see how it runs, etc. And then I started playing it, and oh my god, it's way more than just a Conan reskin. It's alternate timeline Dune universe, but all the major players are still in it. The logic of the universe still applies. However, one significant difference is there, which the game tells you when you start the game, and that is if you know Dune lore, then you know Lady Jessica, Paul Atreides, you know, Muad'Dib's mother, made a choice. The Bene Gesserit Order told her to bear a daughter to Duke Leto. But Duke Leto wanted a son because his first son had died. So she bore a son for him because he wanted a son. So she went against the Bene Gesserit Order and gave birth to Paul, who shouldn't have been born, but then goes on to become the Kwisatz Haderach. I can't really pronounce that word, but anyway. And so in this Dune universe, Dune Awakening, she doesn't make that choice. She goes, no, you know, Bene Gesserit told me to have a daughter, so I'm going to have a daughter. So Paul has never been born. the Harkonnen attack on the Atreides on Dune is sussed out by that daughter, so they don't kill off Jessica and the Duke, and then the differences just ripple out across the universe. It's a very different, it's the same thing with the same players on the table, but it's a totally different game of chess, It is a survival sandbox. Yeah, I thought exactly that, Zakwa. It's going to be some it's going to be Conan Exiles with a lick of paint, but it's not. There's a ton of RP elements to it that are not like game dependent. They're just there. The war that happened predating the Dune books, that's spoken about in later books more, and the reason they no longer have computers. All of that is laced through instances you go into, etc. It's very, very cool. The survival element is very, if you stand in, you go out in the middle of the day and stand in the sunshine, you're going to burn through any water supply you have. Funcom is a sleeping cave troll with games. I think with what Funcom, I think a better characterization of them is they bite off more than they can chew. And then patch their way out of problems. Okay, this guy's just got the keeper there. So I'm just going to leave Keeper Dude to do. I think, mate, is he doing the quest, maybe? Yeah, maybe doing the quest. Just leave well alone. Yeah, I like the books. I read the first 3 a long time ago. I've reread them a couple of times. They are heavy-going books, but the politics, the world, the storytelling, the characters, yeah, they're very important. But yeah, I enjoyed 99% of the time I was playing the game. I was just completely engaged with it. And, when you just clock out and go, oh my God, I've been playing for 6 hours. You know that vibe? Have you ever picked up a game like maybe Prey or something like that, and you start playing it, and next thing you know, you're just so invested in it that, the rest of the world's just vanished away from your consciousness. It was that kind of game. I just thought it was amazing. Yeah, Claire Obscura. Yeah, games that take you out of reality and just you're in that world for the time that you're playing. They've been done well, in my opinion. And I do love Dune as well, the books. I think Villeneuve did a really good job with his movies. I don't think anyone's ever going to get, the imagery I had in my head when I read the book, but he came as close as damn it, for the best part of the books. But there's so much in them. They're so deep. There's so much going on. How do you commit that to cinema? It's difficult. But I think Villeneuve's restraint with CGI, which is definitely there. Ornithopters ain't real. We know that, and but they feel completely real in that universe. A lot of the stuff in it feels completely real because of the restraint that they've used. Instead of going the Michael Bay route with unbelievable camera moves, because it's all CGI, which for me takes me out at the moment. Villeneuve goes completely the opposite direction and shoots it as if it was. So in his mind's eye, he goes, well, what if this was really happening, all practical? What would that look like if you were shooting it with film cameras, and then stays inside those lines for the entirety of the movie? But with Dune, they don't. They go, well, if someone did fly an ornithopter that way in those things, the only things you could film would be this if they were practical cameras in a practical universe, the universe we actually live in. So that's the way the shot is done, instead of, you know, technically impossible camera moves that you can do with digital technology. I'm not knowledgeable about the Dune universe, but why the heck does the sandworm laugh at Paul? It doesn't laugh at Paul. I've never heard the sandworm laughing at him. Paul's son has a much more close relationship with the sandworm from Children of Dune. I want to get another beer, so let's go park somewhere slightly out of the thing. It laughs at him. I don't remember that. What book was that in? Skiomo, I can't pronounce, Skielstein? How old were you when you first started playing this game? 32. And now I am an old man, as you can see. I used to have jet black hair. And beard. Yep. You used to be a pistol adventurer until you took an arrow to the knee. Yep. I was a pistol adventurer until I was a melee adventurer, and I switched to melee when Soulfires came out. That's when I went melee. And I stayed melee up until... God, when was it? Children of Dune. Well, that's the next... That's only the second book. It's pronounced Shlomo. Oh, so, yeah, okay, yeah, cool. Did you ever quit AO, or have you been at it for 20 years? 23 years now. Well, yeah, no, 24 years now. Yeah, I think I've had breaks on and off, but they've only been like, oh, I'm not really playing anymore. And then I'd play 6-7 times that year for a month. So, yeah, I guess pretty much consistently played it for that long. Excuse me. Yeah, I went back to pistol once we got the super duper absolute higher from Absolute Sober. Welcome to the stream. Okay, we're not having much Doja fortune at the moment. let's discuss the game Automation. I've never played it. I've never, in fact, heard of it. But thanks for the bits, Absolute Sober. Much appreciated. I don't know, what is it? I can't really talk about the game because I have no experience of the game, and you know, therefore I can't have any kind of opinion of it if I don't know anything about it, can I? Automation, okay. Game automation or the game automation? Which one do you mean? Because they're two very different things, I'm imagining. Is there a game called Automation, or do you mean game automation? Children of Dune is the third, is it? So you got Dune, and then... Isn't it the second one? Are you sure? I know the films, there's like two films have come out, but they're the first book. They're not two different books, they're the same one. Oh, is it Dune Messiah? In my mind, I had Dune... Oh, it's not Dune Messiah. The third... yeah, because the fourth book is God Emperor of Dune, isn't it? That's Leto II's story. Yeah, Messiah... Yeah. I can't remember that. Right, so the first book is your introduction to the universe, the characters that are in it. And you get Paul's story where he toys at being, you know, playing a god. For revenge, essentially. But he can't go through with the conclusion to his prescience, so he goes another route and becomes the kind of preacher figure who is blinded. And to the Fremen, a blind person is useless. They just cast out to the desert and let Shai Hulud take their water. But his son, Leto, does follow through on it. And becomes a hybrid creature with the sandworms. Incredibly powerful. Like, incredibly powerful. He can run hundreds of miles an hour across the desert. He can... virtually unkillable. And then God Emperor of Dune is more of his later part of his story, where even he becomes defeated. Yeah, well, Herbert did experiment with LSD before he wrote Dune. So some of his ideas are really out there, but they're so good to read. Yeah, it was. Yeah. He was a turbulent character, and his writing is very much of that. Can you know him through his writing? I don't know. Never met the man, but yeah. Yeah, there was the later books that I've not read, and I've not read any of the ones published after he stopped writing them. I'm not being elitist about it, but I know his sons kind of carried on with it, but can they be sure that what they write is what he would have written, and yada yada yada? That's my only thing. I'm not saying there can't be great stories and whatnot, but yeah, in my opinion, they're not missing anything. Yeah, his sons, but yeah, I mean, they're going to be in character, I guess, but the original is always the original, isn't it? You know. And I mean, it can't be as bad as the fan fiction crap we get on streaming services with team writers trying to second guess the original author's intent. I mean, case in point, the first one to totally fail at that was Game of Thrones. So they stuck mostly to the plot lines of the books for the Game of Thrones series until the end of season 6, I think. And then 7 and 8 are just dog shit. The characters suddenly go off at wild tangents that that don't fit, and the ending feels completely unsatisfying, and it just doesn't work. It's bad. You know, it's objectively badly written, and the original author said, "Yeah, that's not how it ends." Yeah, no. When they ran out of books, it went to shit. And The Witcher, the first season is okay, good fun, but the second season is a heap of dog shit. It's awful. It's like, Geralt would never do that. No, this character that's not how that character is. That's not what, and it just, no. Stop now. This is fan fiction. It's god awful. Please stop making it. You know. Yeah, 1 to 5, because there's only 5. Yeah, like you're right. There is only 5 books. Yeah, but you know, the show's making a ton of money. Wheel of Time as well. Yeah, that's all been retconned and rewritten, and yeah. If you're going to make a TV show based on a beloved book series, don't fucking second guess it all. You're not going to get it right. Just read the books, Peppo said. Okay. Yeah, we're having no luck, and there's no Sunfuss here anyway. Back to the garden. How many? Yeah, I gave up through season 6, I think. How many Game of Thrones they did? Oh god, yeah, it's been a long time since I watched it. Game of Thrones, yeah, I mean, it ran for 8 years. But books. You know, he's never done the next one, has he, for years and years and years, and maybe he'll never do it, you know. Maybe he's finished with that story. But, Thrones book order. Oh, just fuck off. Yeah, like the House of Dragon stuff and all. Yeah, I've no interest in it based on the crap I saw with, like, yeah. Are there 5 or 7 books? A trilogy and release 5 out of 7 planned volumes. Yeah, so like you say, 6 onwards is, yeah. The Black Company. Yeah, I don't know. I've not read that one. Yeah, so we see this all too often. In fact, I think the Game of Thrones author even spoke up about that. He said these staff writers that think they can second guess a successful novelist are just, you know, 100%, you know, they get 99% of what they write is just not right. And it does show, because you watch it and you think, no, why is this character being rewritten? Why the hell are they acting like this? I mean, look at the god-awful Disney Star Wars stuff. I mean, out of all of it, there's, what, Andor? The series is good. 1 and 2, excellent. And The Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2 are good. Everything else, kind of dog shit. And that's Star Wars. How can you f that up, you know? Even the much hated prequels that George Lucas made are head and shoulders above anything Disney's ever come up with. They're just god-awful. Acolyte wasn't bad. It was shit. I stopped watching it after 25 minutes. Hey, look who's in our movie. It's Trinity. Oh, actually, she gets killed in the first fucking 5 minutes of the show. And I carried on watching for another 10 minutes and just went, this is shit. You know, just personal opinion. I'm not saying I'm right, but yeah, I was done after 20 minutes of that show. Mandalorian, season 1 and 2, the finale of season 2, that's where they should have left it. It didn't need season 3. Was it the power of many? I didn't even get that far. It just felt wooden. It didn't feel like Star Wars. I don't know what the hell it was trying to be. They pulled the switcheroo with Trinity. And I just thought, this is crap. Yeah, you're missing nothing, Stuart. It's just badly written, lo-fi sci-fi. It doesn't feel it doesn't even feel a tiny bit. The only good thing in it is Ahsoka, whatever her name is, the Twi'leks character. She's pretty good. But beyond that, it's just Ahsoka. Yeah, Ahsoka is a better show, but that largely relies on the talent of the cast. Yeah, Mandalorian, season 1, season 2, excellent. Especially the ending of season 2. That's, for me, that's where the show ends. So watch it, but don't watch anything after season 2, because it just becomes a massive come down after that. The ending of season 2 is the peak the season gets to. The third season is just, what the is this? You know, it changes drastically. So all the storytelling, all the show don't tell that was well done in the first 2 seasons suddenly becomes boring exposition dialogue and other crap that doesn't actually explain any motives or anything else. It's just, yeah, it's just, I don't know. It just feels like someone that knew what they were doing wrote the first 2 seasons, and then the third season, a different team picked it up and fucked it. Sorry. Yeah, well, George sold out because he, you know, he was under a lot of pressure to do so. And at the age that how old is George Lucas now? Can someone Google it? He's like in the late 70s, early 80s or something now. And the guy's a great filmmaker. Always was, always will be. But didn't feel he had another trilogy in him. I don't think I can do another trilogy, so I think I should pass the torch. And Disney are offering me life-changing amounts of money from every descendant that comes after me for 20 generations. So he sold out, and I get it, you know. You know, new shows that have come out lately in the last 5 years. Reacher has... forget the Tom Cruise crap. Sorry, Tom, you're awesome, but you make Tom Cruise movies. That's your job. and you do a good job of that. But you don't make a good Reacher. If you've read the Reacher books, he's nothing like Reacher. He's about 3 foot too short for a start. But the guy that does it in the TV show, that's Reacher in the books. Robert Jordan didn't sell out. He was just very, very long-winded. He didn't live long enough to finish his saga. Generational wealth. Yeah, I mean, what did... Okay, okay. I mean, it's going to be Google, so pinch of salt. How much did Disney pay George Lucas for Star Wars? So what was it back in 2012? Billion. It was more than $1 billion. Oh, for fuck's sake! No one's gonna give you money. How did your what did you? What, oh God! No, I just want to know how much did Disney pay? And I don't want your bullshit site with pop-ups. Okay, Reddit, we're really digging in. Oh, why is it white? Default is fucking dark mode. Okay, so opinions instead of actual information. $4 billion. That's a lot of money. You know. I was replying to a fellow chatter, nothing to do with Disney. Fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, so a little bit over 4 billion, because he was getting too old and too tired to continue doing Star Wars, and said, well, you know, and Disney wanted the IP. They thought, oh, massive cash cow for us. And they've not made any money so far. They literally, because you got to remember when they say, oh, it cost 400 million or 600 million to make, that's the production costs. There's an additional 600 million spent on promotion, advertising, and everything else when it comes to movies. That's how it works. So it cost way more money than it made. And somehow Kathleen Kennedy still has a job. Brandon Sanderson did a fair job of concluding Wheel of Time. Okay. I mean, I watched 3-4 episodes and I just got bored of it. That's the honest truth. Rings of Power. I watched nearly all of the first season. I'm not going to continue to watch it. There's nothing in me has any compunction to watch any more of it. It just thought it was bad. Yeah, the books. Yeah, I've not read the books, but what I understand from the people that have read the books is the adaptation is terrible. The characters are incorrect. Hey, Doja, the story changes just don't work. And they're not happy. And those are the people that do read the books. I've not read the books, I admit. You know, they're just not happy with the adaptation. They're like, no, you've got it all wrong. That's absolutely not why character X did ABC. I'm talking about the books. Well, okay. I've not read them, so how do I comment on that? I can't really, can I? I mean, the holy trinity of Star Wars for me is the original 3 movies. And even I thought Jedi was because originally it was written as, they weren't Ewoks, they were Wookiees. And it was virtually an R-rated movie at the end. And then that got changed. They were cute teddy bear Ewoks. And yeah, it was all, PG. I like the movies up until A New Hope. New Hope's the first movie, mate. So that means you just don't like Star Wars. No matter what George tells you or anyone else tells you, 1977, Star Wars. Didn't even have A New Hope in the credits. It's the first movie. That's the movie that that's the movie that changed cinema. That's the movie that, brought Star Wars from non-existence into existence. And then the prequels, you've got boring. Well, you've got mostly boring, slightly more interesting, and pretty good movie as the prequels. And then for the sequels, you've got retread of the very first actual movie. Total dog shit piece of crap that lost so much money, it's comical. And I don't know about the one that came after that because I've never seen it and I never will. I watched 45 minutes of The Last Jedi and just walked out of the movie theatre, and that was it. I was done. I was just not ever going to watch another one. Silvash, hey man, hey. I'm a new AO player paid. I prefer to pay subs to have the entire game to enjoy. I have no old characters, credits except Fixer Trader. Which one would you advise? Play the play style that you like. Both have their merits. Every class has its merits. Okay, we're going to have to do an Inferno mission if we're going to ding. Yeah. Playing a game on a class that's advantageous for earning credits or whatever. If that class type isn't your preferred play style, you're not going to have a good time. So play the play style you enjoy. The rest will sort itself out. Trust me. Didn't even see. I'll never watch the last movie. The one with the fucking random horse race, Luke's character rewrite. The Mary Sue character they seem to be focused on, all of it. I fucking hated every second of it, and 45 minutes was as long as I could watch it for. It was complete shit. Yeah, Rogue One's good. Andor's also good. If you like Rogue One, you'll love Andor. It's how Andor becomes Andor, and it makes some subtle changes to the characters in Rogue One, but meaningful changes. Like, especially Saw Gerrera. When you see Saw Gerrera watching that movie, you're like, yeah, there's a guy who sacrificed everything, for that. And then after watching Andor, you have a very different opinion about who he is, even though he's going to do exactly the same things. They don't rewrite what he does or what he says, they just rewrite how he got there, or they write how he got there, and it's really well done. But yeah, the last what was it called, the second Disney one, just I couldn't watch more than 45 minutes of it. I just got up, left my popcorn, said, can I get a refund at this point? And they were like, no, you've been watching for 45 minutes. And I went, yeah, that's fine. I won't be back though. And just walked off. That was it. Was done. Not going to watch any more of this shit. We're done. The Last Jedi, Rise of the Skywalker. Yeah, it just... Yeah, I got halfway through, I guess, The Last Jedi, or 45 minutes in, and I was done. I didn't want to spend another second of my time. I didn't want to waste another second of my time on that movie. I could be watching birds eating something. Or a dog having a shit across the road. It'd be more entertaining than that movie. So, yeah. Right. Getting a beer. Right, I'm back. The terrible and don't exist. Some people won't even watch the prequels. And I think the prequels still feel like Star Wars. The first one is a bit bloaty and a bit dialogue heavy and whatnot. But, the battle with Darth Maul and the music, Duel of Fate. Pretty good. It's pretty epic. It's very, very Star Wars. That's better. Right, let's pull a mission from our dude, the Essence Hunter. That I have. We will do what we can to stop the Unredeemed. We'll go mid. Yep, cave. That's good. Got a decent location on the first pull. Razil, welcome to the stream. Yeah, if you like Fixer, there's lots of ways to make money as a Fixer. Blitzing nanos that people want. So you want, you're going to spend a lot of time at mission terminals, getting a mission that gives you the nano you're looking for. But you can then sell them on GMI, make a ton of money. Dune is probably the last one. I don't think you could ever make Dune into a movie. I think it's just too deep. There's too much going on, narratively and descriptively that would work in cinema. I think Villeneuve did a pretty good job. Who did the 1984 movie? They died recently as well. And David Lynch, wasn't it? That movie's fine, but that movie does change the story somewhat. So in the 1984 movie, Paul Atreides in that movie actually is a god figure in their own right. Whereas in actual fact, they know that they're not, but they're playing at it to get what they want. And that's a more important story to tell. And I think Villeneuve got that more correct, let's say. Fixers always seem cool, but I'm unsure of the place of grid armor nowadays. Redundant. Because you have nano web, which means you get the same benefits and better for defensive skill from the nano web as you do from grid armor, but you can wear conventional armor with it. Is grid armor 2 still available? Yeah. Rare, but available. But if you're playing paid, you just don't bother with it. There's better options. So, okay, he's dead. So, if you go to AO Galaxy, go to Fixer, you can see the shadow webs. Scroll, I'll find them. Excuse me. You get run buffs that work in Shadowlands for one. Give you 800 run speed, 150 to evades, and that's shared with anyone you're teamed with, and it cycles. So unfortunately, you can't just cast it and go. You've got the ammo that works across all, and then grid armor. So, okay, it's grid armor Mark IV. We're going to open that. And then shadow web. So, the benefit of wearing that, although, does it show what the item does? It doesn't really on that site, but yeah, it gives you like what, 800 audible death, or not even that. Versus summon shadow web. So let's go for the equivalent. Shadow web 4. Yeah, you've got to be 201 for that. Does it not show that? Oh god, this is useless. Yeah, but shadow web Mark IV doesn't tell you what it does. It tells you what it is, which is kind of useless. But when you get the final one, it's difficult to cast, but what it actually gives you is incredible. What was that one? Matty 1992 subscribe with Prime. They've subscribed for 2 months, currently on a streak. Thank you very much for the resub and your Prime, much appreciated. Nullity sphere for NT, I guess. No, they're very different. They're nothing alike. Nullity sphere is a Froob nano, not really a paid nano for NT. I'm gonna have to log characters in to show you the difference, but I'm more than happy to do that to give you the information. So okay, let's look at a GA4 fixer. Okay, so give me a mo. I'll do that. Yeah, they're very different things. So I'm going to do the thing first. So let's log in my Froob fixer, who has GA4. There he is. Right, so there's grid armor 4. So adult def 2000. That's a lot of adult def. Then 2000 ACs, but downside, only certain armors can be worn with it, which I've got most of a set of there, right? Versus a paid fixer. Give me a sec and I will show you one. AO items is offline. Yeah, it is. They kept that site up for a very long time, but sadly it's now gone. But AO Galaxy is kind of the same thing. It works in very much the same way. So here's a 220 paid fixer wearing full armor. Now, his back armor is this. It's temporary, you have to recast it, but so is grid armor. Nanoweb 11. So Adol Def, only 1,000, but look at all the different things it has, like NCU, max health, 1,700 ACs, 660 add damage, and you can wear it with regular armor. So you can put best in slot armor pieces, alien armor, everything else, you know, and all the rest of it. We're making them with you know, he's got that, but don't forget you've also got the paid items with nano resist, Adol Def, etc. So you end up being really, really difficult to kill. Okay, 2,000 Adol Def is a lot, but if you've no ACs, the hits that do get through hit really hard. Whereas on a paid fixer, you've got perks, you've got all the rest of it, which makes up the deficit. So you end up with a higher Adol Def. So if we do stats, let's have a look. So if we look at where's Adol Def on here? Isn't it? Adol Def. In total, 2,110 points on a paid fixer. So with the HUD items, armor, etc. Versus a free fixer with GA4. If we do the same. So, stats. And we look at that. Adol Def. 2001. So you've got no ACs, basically. I mean, your ACs are like sub 10k. Your weapon choices are far more limited and all the rest of it. But you do have 2001 Adol Def versus a fixer. A paid fixer has 2,100, has more Adol Def and got nearly 10,000 in ACs. So the damage, the hits you do take, summon, and also, well, you can, I think you can use grid armor now in Shadowlands. So you didn't used to be able to, but now you can. But you're very, very unkillable on paid. So the Nanoweb paid fixer route is far more powerful. Grid armor is very much a froob character thing at this point. Yeah, and all the, not a GA nuke, all the nukes kind of, well, no, all the proper nukes go straight through reflect and stuff like that. So if we go to so this is a fun time NT. So like literally God mode NT. Instead of nullity sphere, they use superior nanobot shelter. So temp damage 25, nano damage multiplier to 110. So for every 25 damage they take 110, not to HP, but to nanopool. But then nanopool is colossal and instantly refillable. And yeah, there is a Pierce grid armor nano anyway. So they can hit you for 25k plus with one nuke. The damage they do take doesn't really hit their HP, it hits that. And that pumps that damage into the nanopool, which is replenished at an astonishing rate. More than any heal system, in fact. They can get down to like one point of nano pool, hit this nano, and get 20k nano back immediately. But they can only do it every 90 seconds. Yeah, there's also an offensive versus debuff versus defensive debuff. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I have Nullity Sphere somewhere. But I just never use it because there are far better options. Yeah, I've got Nullity Sphere there. But I almost never ever use it. There's just no need to use it. Anyway, there we go. Right, so we're on a mission to hit the next level. It's been very difficult to explain that without a show and tell. So I apologise for the show and tell, but we kind of needed it. Jai Halud! Yeah, and Nullity Sphere triggers a 30-second it's like a hallelujah prayer to try and walk out, and I mean walk away from a fight, because you can't run with Nullity Sphere. So it used to be the big thing, but with paid, all the expansions, the power creep and everything that came after, it just isn't what it, you know, the old grey mare ain't what she used to be. Yeah, if you don't have, AO items has gone, sadly, so it's now AO Galaxy, which will give you the same kind of references and stuff like that. The old AO items, if you go to that site, it's just gone. So we're back to Anu, which is not as accurate, I would say. But it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Doubles and triples have been replaced. Triples aren't triples anymore. They're dots. That got changed in 18.7, which was 2015. So it did. It got changed. Yeah, so oh god, I'll log them back in and I'll show you. More show and tell, everyone. Yeah, so, oh god. Okay, we're going back to the old forums, if they load. No, that's not it. I need an NPC to show you. Well, they were kind of OP in certain ways. Right, let's go to a backyard. We'll use a backyard guard for demonstration purposes. Right, okay, so the old double was Izagima's tactical nuke. I'm going to hit this guard with it. You see, he gets a double dot. Triples don't exist anymore, but we got Garrick's Viral Assault as a replacement endgame nuke. Here is, I'm just going to hit a perk and hit this guy with Garrick's. So I hit him for 29,371 hit points. Yeah, so see, that's his NCU. Okay, you ready? So I'm going to hit him with a double. There it is. And you see it takes that bit of his HP away. And then I'll hit him with Garrick's again. 27k, because that's all the HP he had left. So here we go. The triple became a tactical nuke, which is a different thing. And I no longer have it according to the game. Cannot find the nano program. So that got removed. You got offensive focus. Your NCU has been focused on offensive libraries. You will not be able to use or execute nullity sphere. So you can't use it with the best nukes. It pierces any reflect. Yeah, 18.7 was a massive change to the game. Massive, massive change. Yeah, the debuffs are kind of the same. So with this, I would like hit him with a big dot, which is called self-illumination. So there you go. Hits a lot, but now he's running it. And if I now hit my perks and then nuke him with Garrick's, I hit him for 30,107. When was 18.7? 2015. And zoning out of a backyard is still really difficult for some reason. Yeah, that was when we got... I'm just going to wait it out. That's when we got a REIT and all the other changes. 18.7 wasn't good enough. Well, it fucked Advies. Completely changed how they worked. They got the most rewrite I've ever seen, and I almost quit the game because of it, because I used to main Advi. Now, the closest thing to an Advi you've got now is a keeper. You just have to start playing on a new character, Rick, too. I mean, enforcers are far more like an enforcer. They haven't fixed the backyard zoning issue. Yeah, it's never been fixed because you don't start the game in one anymore unless you play on the 2019 server, where you get the vanilla experience. On startup, you start in the old backyards, but beyond that, no one ever goes there except to drain, because it's convenient. That's about it. Yeah, I was in the beta engine beta for AO, and that's where the 18.7 changes were, as well as the beta engine. So that's when I started making videos on YouTube. I'd had a YouTube channel for a long time that just had stuff that I uploaded to Google Video before they bought YouTube. So like 2006, maybe 2005. So I'd upload the videos there, and then Google emailed me and said, "Oh, we've bought YouTube, so we're shutting down Google Video. Do you want to move all your videos over to YouTube? We'll create the channel for you, and we'll put your videos there free of charge." And I was like, "Yeah, okay then." Yeah. You're watching vids of you in 2015. Yeah, you'd been watching them on Google Video. That's where I put them. And we put them there, and they were just like a showcase for Storm, and they were on the front page of the Storm forums, as they were then, when people actually still used forums. That's not... Oh my god, how small is this mission? This mission is tiny. That's good. That means we get it over and done with. Blessed mission. Yes. Because what you want, you're not really interested in mob XP unless you're doing research at 100% in an Inferno hard. But if you just want the mission reward, yeah, low mob count missions are awesome. And I much prefer the old mission over the new missions. Although there's more AFK opportunities in the new missions, that's not how I play the game. I don't want to be AFK earning XP. I want to be playing. And the other thing is, if you are doing the new missions, you're on a timer. You cannot, once you start the mission, you can't go off and do other stuff. As in, at this point, I could kill this guy, stay in this room, go and get another beer, which I'm going to do, and then come back. Whereas when you're in the new missions, you're waiting for spawns to come in and start killing, the things you're there to protect to begin with. Excuse me. People very quickly figured out if they killed off 2 of the 3 spirits they're there to protect, they could all just stand at the same spirit and kill the, wave after wave of mob. At which point Funcom decided to make the spawn spirit mobs, like either they made them unkillable or they made it so you took massive reflect from them or something daft. Mandy something is now following. Thank you for the follow. Spirit Room 2.0. A little bit, yeah. See, at least with this, Mandy Dayhan. Hi, hey. Well, welcome on in, either way. Yeah, so with this mission type, if I'm like, oh, I've got to take this call, I kill the mob in front of me and I don't have to move, nothing else is going to spawn around me and kill the things I'm there to protect. So at this point I can go, right, well, I think I'll take a breather. and I'm just going to do what I feel like doing, and the mission moves along at my pace and nothing else. That's it. You know, this is why I like these missions. Mandy is fine. So much time I haven't seen this game. Mandy is talking about themselves in third person. Me is slightly worried. Right. I shall be back momentarily. I mean, you can call me Mandy instead of Mandy something. Well, Mandy something. I like the Mandy something, so I'm going to go with that. So, Mandy something. No, I'll just call you Mandy. Okay. Oh, dear. I amuse myself. It's not a good sign. But anyway, yeah. Okay, where are we going? We're going to go this room. Okay. We got two dudes pulling. Yeah, you don't get the intonation of speech and characterization of body language or tone with text-only communication, so there's an awful lot lost which is open to interpretation, which is why I think a lot of people end up arguing even though they actually agree on the internet. But there we are. That's how it is. Another beer. Case in point, how you doing? Versus the Joey from Friends, how you doing? It's all of that communication is not written down. It's everything else. Ow, I'm getting hit. I need to heal. I don't like you. You made me need to heal. Heal again. God damn. John Goodhorse gifted 5 subs to the channel. Thank you for the gift bomb. Gifted to T-Sav. Piety, Chick Attack, Car Magic 101, and Quicksilver. Another beer on me. Much appreciated, good sir. Mob hitting you, expensive. Cracking open a cold one with the boys, priceless. Exactly, yeah. I try and do 99% of my streams sober, so I'm on point and not disappointing people. But I do like a drink, I'm not going to lie. So, there you go. And I'm not working today. I've done everything I need to do for the day. This is chill out time. So I would probably start drinking now rather than 2 hours ago when we started the stream, and watch a movie. I don't drink a lot, 2 or 3 pints of beer, and I'm happy, and then I want something to eat, yada yada. So. And remember, if you have received a gifted sub, please remember to thank the person that gifted it to you. My God, we're at 41% all yet. Stop yelling. What? What was I yelling? Do you mean me? Do you mean someone else? Did someone all caps? Stop. Oh, God. Okay. Chat's just, yeah. Chat is doing its own thing. Sarcasm doesn't translate well. Yeah, sarcasm's best in person or audio-visual. It translates. Otherwise, not always. Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't. Sometimes we misunderstand each other because we don't have the context we need, which you would normally have in a natural conversation between two people. In fact, just hearing the person is usually enough. Are you empathetic? Apathetic? And everything in between? All of that is non-verbal tonal language. Online, in my era, caps is shouting, not caps. Yeah, the all capitals was always considered like shouty. Some people think it does the same job as an exclamation point, but those people are just poorly educated. No, it's not the same. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all caps is still sweary, shouty, whatever. I never all caps, except by accident. There is no such expression as on accident, by the way. Please stop saying on accident. That's not a thing. The phrase is by accident. Or, I done it accidentally. On accident is not a thing. And what's the other one that's become popular? And it annoys me. Yeah, I asked you a question. No, you asked if you're English or asked if you're Northern, but you never axed anybody unless you picked up an axe and hit them with it. or cut something off. That's what axed means. It doesn't mean ask or ask. I done it on accident. There's no such bloody phrase. Yeah, it's weird, but yeah, those, I mean, they probably will become common parlance and become entered into the dictionary, but they're not real words. The British are the worst perpetrators. The people who invented the English language are the worst perpetrators of the English language. It's probably true. Our spelling is completely archaic and makes no sense and doesn't follow its own rules. But that's English for you. That's what you get when you're 30% French, 28% German, bit of Latin. It depends who invaded when, and decided to change the national language, and it just all, yeah, gets completely muddled up. And then you've got the transversal between the Gaelic languages like Cymraeg, which is Welsh, and Gaelic, which is a language and culture in its own right, which is Irish, and then the other Northern Gaelic, which is the Scottish native language. Like, you've probably all heard the phrase, oh, I before E except after C. The problem with that rule is it applies to, I think, 12 words, and the other 122 it does not apply to. So it's a useless bloody rule. More words disobey the rule than follow it. So what's the point of the rule? You know. English is just bonkers. It's an absolute bonkers language. It really is. It's not a rule. People were taught that. 60s, 70s and 80s. That's what you were taught. English never had much rhyme or reason. And then you demonstrate the opposite of that with a Shakespearean phrase. Rhyme or reason. That's what has always baffled me, is that yeah, exactly, an interesting point. Yeah, that phrase in of itself is pure English. It's Shakespearean English, rhyme or reason. And you know why the poetry in Shakespeare doesn't rhyme anymore? Because we don't speak English as they spoke it when Shakespeare was alive and writing plays. The words were pronounced completely differently. Or not completely differently, but they were pronounced differently. Yeah, English is impenetrably hard to learn. No, and anyone would know if they'd ever tried to read Shakespeare. What are you commenting on? The poetry no longer rhymes? Or rhyme or reason isn't a Shakespearean saying? Is it not Shakespearean then? Oh, since the 1400s. I just said no. Okay, now. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Cloak, Middle French. Oh, yeah. It predates Shakespeare then. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm wrong. Yeah, it's not Shakespearean then. Attributed to poet Edmund Spenser in a conversation with Queen Elizabeth I. Okay. I thought it sounds like Shakespeare. Rhyme or reason. I don't know what the idiom means, but when you do something without rhyme or reason, you do it without really thinking things through. There's an absence of common sense. Yeah, that's what we mean. Mira quit her well-paid job without rhyme or reason. Sir Thomas More, author of Utopia, believed to have made this idiom. Yeah, it's an idiom, not a phrase. There you go. I knew it was Old English. I thought it was maybe Shakespearean, but no, it's much older than that. There you go. I was wrong. I'm unafraid to admit being wrong. It's a good it's a good trait to have. Don't be afraid to admit you're wrong, because it means you have learned. If you can't say you were wrong about something, you'll never learn anything. It's notoriously difficult. Well, I did English lit. You know, Shakespeare wrote stuff like Macbeth and all, the Scottish play. And it's a case of, had they done it today with modern dialogue, it would be way more impactful than something like Game of Thrones or whatever. Yeah, if you can't admit you're wrong, you won't learn fuck all ever. You have to understand that sometimes your assumption or best guess isn't correct, and when you get that information you go, oh, I was wrong. I have now learned something new. If you can't do that, you will remain forever moronic. You really will. And people will see it. Because they'll know that you're wrong, because they have gone through the process of, oh, I always thought that too. Turns out not. But I know that now. Have you seen the iterations of the translations? We never got into that when I did English Lit. We went to see Shakespearean plays, so we saw Macbeth. The Scottish play. You do not refer to the name directly. And another Much to Do About Nothing, and I can't remember. I mean, Jesus, you're asking me to think back 40 years ago when I was studying that, and if I'm honest, don't remember. Native English speakers translating ye old English, yeah. The way that words were spoken has changed over time and continues to change over time. But you don't ask anybody anything. You like in Southern English, ask, which is received pronunciation, or if you're Northern, you just say ask. The further north you go in Britain, the further back in time you go on pronunciation. Yeah, because the language we spoke in Shakespeare's time has evolved and changed, and the way we pronounce it has evolved and changed. So if you're a non-native English speaker, you learn modern English, and then it is difficult to understand older English at that point, because the way to read well, you know, this combination of letters makes this sound, has changed over time. Best East End version of ask. It's actually, well, East End refers to the East End of London, which is ask. Like, in London, they don't say London, they say London. It's like the O's become A's. And I'm not against things evolving, because that means, you know, we're gonna make it. As a species. We need to evolve how we perceive, how we do things, but you can't, you know where ask becoming axe comes from? Singing. I think it comes from singing. But famously, here's another example of singing influencing how words are said. If you, like, James Brown, baby, please don't go, right? And you repeat the word please over and over and over again in that musical piece. And it's a beautiful piece, and it's soulful, and it's amazing, and it's all the things it is. But without getting into that, over a microphone, and in order to enunciate whilst singing, you pronounce words differently. So he actually says, baby, please don't go. There's no L. There's no please. Because when you're singing, the L is slightly difficult to do in the idiom that it's presented in that song. So, baby, please don't go. He's not saying please. The L is dropped, so he can focus on the vowel, which is ease, which is the tonal vocabulary of the music. So you get, baby, please don't go. Baby, please don't go. If you listen closely, you realize they're saying, baby, please don't go, not baby, please don't go, because the L makes it more difficult to hit the note you're going for, which is a vowel, which is easier to hit because it's a vowel. A, E, I, O, U, you know, etc., etc. Vowels are resonant. Consonants are not resonant. They're for articulation. And that's where... And then she asks me, well, I look all right. And I say, darling, you look wonderful tonight. That's where it started. Yeah? So it's to do with singing and how our vocal cords work. So vowels are the notes we sustain, and we can resonate those vowels. So vowels are resonant. Consonants are choppy and precise. Yeah? They're very different sounding. One is rhythmic, and one is, you know, the tone and the note. So that's how we arrived at axe, because it's easy to go act, and there's a k at the end, and that's enough. But if you try and do ask, that's more difficult to sing. So the consternation, the contraction of the word to make it easier to sing has burrowed into popular vocabulary. So people start saying, you know, I axed her this, which is incorrect. It's no, you're not singing, you're speaking, you know. But they do bleed over, and we adopt them. That's how languages, I think, evolve. It was in my thesis, actually. Consider Av. Av as in Arvi. Well, Arvi is Yiddish. It's old, you know. It's one of the earliest languages. African American vernacular English. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, yeah. Kind of that, but language evolves, and if you live long enough, you'll see it. I have. The way we talk about things and the way we pronounce words over the last 40 years, where I have a conscious remembrance and knowledge of it, I've seen the differences. What percent am I on? 100%. Right, where we need to find the chessboard room. Whatever the hell that was. There's a movie with Brad Pitt. It's one of my favourite movies, actually, with Anthony Hopkins, called Meet Joe Black. And there's a sequence in the movie where Joe Black, Brad Pitt's character, goes to a hospital and there's a Jamaican lady there. And she's speaking in a Jamaican accent to my ears. It just sounds like a Jamaican accent. It doesn't sound like a different language to me. But perhaps to an American audience, it does sound like a different language. There's slang words and, you know, the way it's pronounced is different and whatever. But it still sounds like English to me, but English with an accent. And of course, Brad Pitt's character can speak every language because, you know, he's well, I don't want to spoil a movie. Go watch a movie. But his character can speak any language. And he speaks to her directly in her own dialect. Yeah, I think that's a more accurate word, dialect, which is an accent that contains phrases and alternate names for things. But I understood every single word he was saying to her. just on virtue of the fact I'm a musician who has played reggae and spent 5 minutes talking to a person from Jamaica. Everything gonna be alright, or something like. I can't do it, but I can understand it. He said, "Everything gonna be alright," and people are like, "What? We need subtitles." It's like, everything's gonna be alright. He's not evil, man. It's an accent. It's more because Britain has so many varied accents. As a British person, to me, it just sounds like a different accent. And once you tune into that accent, it's very easy to understand. Idiom, colloquialisms inherently tied to dialect. Yeah, exactly. So, you Babylon. I know what that means, and suck my teeth. I know what that means. You know. What's his white guy? You know, I'm not welcome here. You know what I mean? Ding, 214. Yeah, you know what it means. You don't need me to explain, right? IP. No. Excuse me. Right. Let's up the IPs. Yeah, so when I hear the kind of the Caribbean accent, a person from the Caribbean speaking to me, it sounds like an accent. It doesn't not sound like English, but there you are. Right, return to the garden. Yeah, but Britain is full of them as well. Because of the nature of my job, I speak to people from all over the country, and sometimes it takes a couple of 30, maybe a minute before my hearing kind of tunes in, or my brain switches on to their form of communication. But once we get there, I'm fine. You know, I completely understand every word you're saying. You know, I hear you in your own tongue. And it's not a problem. You don't have to repeat things to me. Well, it's not just based on location, is it? A lot of it is based on culture. Because Babylon culturally is a significant definition from the Caribbean versus its biblical meaning, you know. Although it is quite closely tied to its biblical meaning. It's a fascinating subject, you know. The more you get into it, the more you realise that languages are incredibly similar, not dissimilar, in the fact that we're all basically the same. We're all, you know, humans who want to have a happy, peaceful life. That's what most people want. And their vocabulary and dialect and manner of speaking reflects that. Which was a clever piece of writing, I think, from James Herbert, who had the Sardaukar had battle language, which was this very guttural, chopped means of communication that they could understand, but was easily transmittable and understood in the field of battle, where things need to happen quickly quite often, and communication has to be abrupt and precise, you know. And he sort of was quite tuned into that when he was writing Dune. You know, that's how the Sardaukar speak the way they speak, because in battle there's no time for nuance. You have to be precise, so you chop down all other existential or whatever characterization to language and just speak in the most base guttural way. It becomes a more primitive language, in fact, because of this, but becomes a more direct form of communication as well. So it's quite an interesting sort of take on that. But Herbert brought that into it, which is how Dune starts. With the chant, the very, you know, it's almost like a Morse code of language. It's very explicit, simple, and direct. You know, there's no artsy fartsy about it. Anyway, is anyone else streaming Anarchy online at the moment? Well, let's take a look. Stream Manager, Anarchy Online. Let's take a look. Me and Jamborees. Okay, what are you doing? Are you talking or are you just playing music? Oh, for fuck's sake, messages. Yeah, Screw your ads. Not going to look at them. I'm going to give them 30 seconds to time out. Bezos. Why don't you build another rocket that explodes? Nope, they're still playing bullshit. What's it even an advert for? I've got no idea. Oh, WhatsApp. Yeah, back off WhatsApp. Apparently, yeah. Is he talking or is it just... No, he's not. No. Okay, so I appreciate streaming Anarchy online, but if you're not going to talk to your audience, I don't think it's fair to go and deliver my audience to someone that doesn't do that. Who else we got? Catatonia. There we go. Now they definitely talk to their audience.
Give it a whole year of Fallout for, so you could say I'm addicted. Yes, a whole year.
Let's have a drink.
Thank you for the hydrate, Skylar.
Oh, we got Raid Cat. I think they're playing ESO. So go raid them, say hi.
For the posture command for Cowgirl Cat and for Chris talking like Arnie. Because those are the three that didn't have
I'm sorry,
audio,
Cat.
so
I'm going
to...
That feels very rude, but yeah, they're a great husband and wife team playing ESO. They definitely talk to their audience and everything else. They're good people. They have interesting sort of chats and such like. So I'm going to go raid you over there, even though it's not AO, because they're a streamer that actually interacts with their audience, and I don't want to transfer you to any channel that doesn't do that. It doesn't feel right to do so. Right. So until the next one, which is likely going to be Friday, I will say bye for now. And YouTubers, you get an extra couple of seconds. While I say good night all. Thanks for coming along. It's been so much fun. Until the next one, bye for now.